Well, top of the morning to ya. I'm Liam the Leprechaun, and I've got a wee secret to share. ZJZDesigns.com has just unveiled their brand new St. Patrick's Day apparel. Featuring yours truly, of course. From cheeky tees to lucky prints, these designs are brimming with charm and plenty of gold. Whether you're heading to a parade or just feeling the Irish spirit, you look grand in these threads. So what are you waiting for? Skip the rainbow and head straight to ZJZDesigns.com. You'll find the pot of gold in your cart. No magic required. ZJZDesigns.com, where style is always in season.
Welcome, everyone, to the All About Nothing podcast, kind of daily show. I am Barrett Gruber, host of the All About Nothing podcast with Zach King. You can find me across all of social media at Barrett Gruber. With me is the host of podcast Black, White, and Blue in the South with Dr. Jameel Brooks. It's Bill Kimler, host again. Oh, I slipped up. I got way ahead of myself. You can follow Bill across all social media at Political Bill SC. If you want to participate in the show, you can chat with us on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. You can find links at the top of our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. Please follow and subscribe wherever you're hearing us. Let's get started. Hello, Bill. Thursday. No, well, we're recording on Wednesday, releases on Thursday as a podcast. Look, it's been a day. I don't know.
It's a day that ends in a Y.
Yeah, lately. I want to start out by asking, do you think that the Verizon wireless outage is Trump testing the United States internet kill switch?
That's a very interesting theory.
It's
Has it impacted you at all? I mean, I've been home all day, so I've been phone over Wi-Fi, and I really didn't even know there was a Verizon outage for a little bit there.
No, I'm on T-Mobile, and just to kind of just give you a hint of the bitterness between Verizon and T-Mobile, I have where's my screen? I'm trying to. Oh, well, regardless, T-Mobile sent out an X post or a tweet, says T-Mobile's network is keeping our customers connected, and we've confirmed that our network is operating normally and as expected. However, due to Verizon's reported outage, our customers may not be able to reach someone with Verizon service at this time. It's a little twist of the knife there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been since before noon today, and as far as I know, it's still out. Verizon is still disconnected. Family members that their phones just say SOS on their phones.
That's what my wife said. She was out and about today, and she was only getting that SOS message. So, do you send the SOS message? What happens when you do that?
I don't think it works. I still don't. I don't have SOS messaging on mine. You can sign up for 2 days at a time.
What is SOS messaging?
So with T-Mobile, it uses the Starlink satellites to be able to connect to send. They're just SMS, so you're limited to 140 characters.
So we're back to the days where you have to pay by text, right? You're up to 500 messages, and then you got to pay, or whatever that limit was.
I did do the beta testing for the SOS. When T-Mobile initially signed up, when they were letting people beta test it. So I did the beta testing. I think I sent 2 messages the entire time, and I had to I had to turn off my data and everything so that I would have the availability. Yeah. But literally what you get is on your phone, you have a map of the sky, and you literally have to line your phone up to wherever, it puts a satellite on your phone, and you have to point it at that satellite, and then you have to hold it there until the message goes through. Are you saying that that's what it was
back when you were testing, or that's how it is now?
Well, that was what it was when I was testing. So one time we went camping up in North Carolina, and there was no signal whatsoever. The only way that we could do anything was with the SOS, satellite text messaging, whatever. And I didn't try it then because I hadn't signed up for it, or I hadn't at least initiated it on my phone prior to losing signal. And so some people that have Verizon right now that never, I guess, turned on the Wi-Fi calling and Wi-Fi messaging on their phones before Verizon went down, there is no network to communicate with Verizon to initiate that so that you can have Wi-Fi calling. So a friend of mine sent me a message and she said, I hear sirens. I guess they're reporting to somebody that has not Verizon. So.
Ouch. So knowing that it was going to Starlink, if you knew that today, would you send a message to Elon Musk? Would you send some choice words in his direction?
It was back in October, so he was out of the administration. I think back then he and Trump were still at odds. Now they're bros again. But yeah, if I had Elon Musk's number, I would text him.
I got to give it to Trump. And this, you got to credit somebody where credit's due. He knows how to forgive. I mean, think about it. Elon Musk went on to his Twitter platform, his X platform there, to his millions of users and blasted out that Trump was in the Epstein files, which, by the way, triggered everything that happened afterwards. Like, it was a slow news drip prior to then, but as soon as he tweeted that out, that's when Release the Files really took off. And despite that, Trump and he buddy, weren't they hanging out New Year's Eve or at some other event, laughing it up, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you could say that in public about Trump and then be forgiven, what does that mean? Does that mean Musk is so rich that he could kowtow the president? Or Trump so powerful, Elon Musk had to make nice? Because he never issued a public apology.
I'm going to say both.
Listen, if you ever said that about me, I wouldn't be coming back on this podcast. There's no coming back from that.
I am glad to hear that that's where your line is.
Oh, that's just one of many lines. Holy crap. You don't even know where that line is. But it is a line, yes.
Yeah, a line. It was, I guess I still don't understand how something like this happens with a carrier that's been around since, Verizon is the product of what, MCI and Ma Bell and whatnot, right? Like, didn't Verizon come out of that whole split over,
I remember networks like Singular with a C.
Yeah.
You remember them? And
I think
they became Verizon. Who knows what the pathway was prior to then. It's all nuts.
Yeah.
But, and if I were T-Mobile, to be quite honest, I wouldn't be out there poking the bear because tomorrow it's going to be your turn. Every network goes down.
100%. Don't disagree at all. It could absolutely be us.
Same thing with the internet. If it's not Cloudflare, it's Amazon. If it's not Amazon, it's Microsoft. If it's not Microsoft, it's somebody else. There's nothing that's out there.
I get notifications all the time that Azure's down. That like Azure's and Azure's instantaneous. It tells you when it's down, like almost immediately.
You know who hasn't had an outage notice in a long time, like maybe decades? AOL Online. Those motherfuckers have consistently stayed online without a single outage notice, nobody complaining, no nationwide issue being raised. AOL Online is true and steady. So shout out to them.
Yeah, I haven't tried logging into my CompuServe in a while, but or my Prodigy.
Yeah, I still have my CD.
They could still be up. Do you? Mm-hmm. I don't even have a CD-ROM.
I still have that notice. You are male, right? It's since the Republicans took over. That's what it now tells me.
Is that what it said? You are male.
You are male.
RJ May was sentenced today. I don't know if you saw this.
Huzzah! 17 and 3/4 years or something like that.
17 and a half years, 20 years of supervision, and he's going to be registered as a sex offender for the remainder of his life. Have you seen the balls on this guy?
Do you see what he had his lawyer ask for during the sentencing?
No, I missed it. What did he ask for?
He asked for immediate release from prison to be confined to live on his family farm, where he could just work out his days in quiet. And
bestiality is a crime here in the in South Carolina.
But go back to yesterday. That was the news headline, is that he was seeking, and he had actually gotten some of his representative buddies in the House to write letters to the judge in his favor, saying, in fact, one letter said, and I forget who the representative was, one letter said, oh, he was great with his kids and we don't want to deprive his kids of a father. Like, you sick son of a bitch.
You see this? I mean, did you read any of what it was that?
Yes.
Yeah. I told Bill and Zach, intern Bill,
Intern
I
Bill.
got through.
The man has a last name and a life. He's married.
Hold on.
Intern
He's not
Bill. I gotta talk to the manager. He's a grown ass man. He doesn't even have any hair. He's already lost all his hair. He's older than you, I think.
Yeah,
Poor Intern
in
Bill.
appearance, maybe Intern Bill. I told them when all of this started to roll downhill for RJ May that I could not get through but 2 of the evidence videos that were presented to the grand jury to keep him in jail for the trial. Just absolutely disgusting. Turned my stomach immediately. And this was something that either he had watched or he had purchased or he was selling and distributing. There were how many pieces of evidence did they use as far as it was 10 videos or 10, I can't remember exactly, but it was.
So does he get a pardon from Donald J. Trump at some point?
It's entirely possible.
Will he be let loose?
It is entirely possible because, RJ May had a campaign consulting firm that did, he had Henry McMaster, he had
Alan
Wilson, he had Joe Wilson. These are 3 individuals that we know all have Trump's ear. Is it possible that he didn't give information about any other he didn't use names of people he knew to try and get a lesser sentence or a plea bargain? Who is it that he could potentially, because they had to have been powerful people.
How many degrees of separation is there between RJ May and the Epstein vanguard there, the Trump Epstein circle? How many degrees of separation? There's got to be a direct connection somewhere.
Absolutely. Because you have to figure that I don't want to believe that it's true, but the likelihood is that RJ May probably has been a client to or a client of someone that is in the Epstein file, the RJ May files.
So is the new guy, his replacement, has he been caught with anything yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right, clock is ticking.
I haven't even seen him post anything on his campaign page about him reporting to session or being sworn in. And I don't know how quickly that happens, but I know that I have seen posts from Heather Bauer every day of session so far this week. So
on my end, out here in Greenwood, we've got John McCravey as the representative.
Right.
And he's out there talking about his Family Caucus, and he's got a legislative priorities with the Family Caucus, and they're strong for family values. Meanwhile, you look at the picture of the Family Caucus today is less than half the size it was this time last year, because more than half of them resigned back in May because of some shenanigans McCravey pulled with anti-abortion protesting, targeting fellow Republicans. And so the co-founder of the Family Caucus left, more than half the members resigned and left. So now it's this teeny tiny cabal of goofballs that he's pretending hey, it's just business as usual. And I got a post out there that just shows the side-by-side comparison last year versus this year.
But we know who the Freedom Caucus members are, right? I mean, do they?
Oh, the Venn diagram's a circle. I mean, it's a Freedom Caucus, Family Caucus. It's the same group of yahoos.
That's what I meant. But the Family Caucus, we know who the Family Caucus is. The Freedom Caucus does not publish anywhere who the members are. And if you ask someone if they are in the Freedom Caucus, they deflect. Yeah. They, unless you are a founder or a co-founder, you
or a
don't
jailed
acknowledge.
Founder. Yeah.
Well, yeah, for sure. Can you imagine RJ May trying to start his club inside of federal prison over the next 17.5 years as the Freedom Caucus?
We need to get a graphic up that shows kind of a wall of infamy, the portraits of every head of the Freedom Caucus.
Yeah, that would be good.
Just to line that up.
Because there are Freedom Caucuses in other states, right? I mean, this isn't just specific
it's
to
at the national
Carolina.
level too. There's a Congressional Freedom Caucus.
So this is a charter thing, like you get or a
It's
franchise,
a chapter, like the KKK.
Yeah.
You got these individual chapters that roll up to a national membership. Same thing.
Very similar to the KKK.
Very.
Yeah. So RJ May is going to be in jail or prison for 17 and a half years. When he gets out, I am assuming he won't be allowed to have any contact. I don't know what the requirements or what your restrictions are when you register as a sex offender. Do you have to stay a certain distance away from schools or playgrounds, that sort of thing? Is this
You run for president. That's what you do.
Right. Well, that's accused. He's not been convicted of it.
He's been convicted.
Well, he's been convicted
He was found guilty of rape.
Of sexual assault. Yeah. Exactly. And the whole thing right now with Trump and all of the Greenland and Denmark and Cuba and all of this, I just want to acknowledge that we are now, 25 days post the Department of Justice supposed to have delivered all of the Epstein files. Anywhere where there are redactions, there are supposed to be explanations on why there are redactions, none of which has happened. I think of the 2 million some odd files, supposedly 2 million files, evidence, whatever, they've released 12,000 some odd files. And of those 12,000, I think someone said that about 8,000 of them are just pages with black.
Well, I'm going to let you in on a secret.
Thing.
I purchased stock in the printer ink company that generates black ink about a month ago, 2 months ago.
That's genius.
And
that's genius.
I'm letting you know, man, it went through the roof, man. My $5 investment is now worth $20. I am ready for retirement.
Was this the investment? This was the investment we were talking about at Christmas? This big idea?
That was my big idea. I should have let you in on it, but I needed to hoard it all for myself.
So Epstein lists, the Epstein files still haven't been released, and it seems as though at least
what about the audio transcripts that were released? Have you heard that yet?
Which ones?
We'll talk about it on Monday. I went down, somebody forwarded me this Substack where this lady had recorded some transcripts of a man who was a young boy that was part of the sex trafficking ring of the Trump Epstein circle. And she got recorded testimony from him. And it was some of the darkest shit you would ever hear. And there's a full write-up and recorded audio of it. I'll send that to you, and maybe we'll make that a focus of Monday. But it went all over. I mean, it went viral. I just wish I could remember the name.
So is the implication then that it wasn't just females that were involved in the sex trafficking?
Correct.
That there is there implications that Trump might have been involved with boys?
Yes. At least within that whole circle. I mean, he may not personally have been involved, but they trafficked in boys as well as girls.
Wow. I mean, it's both of the accusations are appalling, and it's disgusting that there were people of power that were so willing to victimize children in this. It's disgusting and it's disappointing. But again, we were supposed to have the release of the Epstein files and an explanation as to why they were being redacted when redactions were necessary. And there has not been any of that. But the media, whether it's MS Now or CNN or Fox News, all they seem to be able to talk about lately is Donald Trump saving protesters in Iran or Donald Trump threatening to go into Greenland. And I watched a press conference today where Trump was sitting behind the desk and he had a very small child, a female child sitting behind him. I don't understand what the optics of that are supposed to mean. Like, I mean, he puts all of his cabinet members behind him, which is weird. But
or how about that speech he gave where he said he loves minors? We went down that path before.
Yeah, but like, I can never understand the optics of him sitting in the Oval Office and doing a press conference, sitting at the desk. Also, why the fuck is he always sitting? Like, I mean, I know why, but how come nobody's asking that question?
I don't know. He was walking
Biden
around a
stood.
Ford plant yesterday, flipping the bird off at the workers. I mean,
I saw that.
he's able to
I
walk
saw
just
that.
fine.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think that he's able to walk fine in spurts. I
Again,
still attest
this whole
that
conspiracy about his health, I'm so bored by it at this point. And every day that fucker proves me right with my prediction.
I say 2 to 4 months.
I say 2 to 4 decades. That man is the Terminator.
This is an elderly man who has put his body through the ringer when it comes to STDs.
He is like Nosferatu. He's made some deal with an unholy spirit and will live to be centuries old.
Oh, if only magic were real. Wouldn't that be fantastic? You all are recording an episode this weekend of the Black, White, and Blue in the South podcast.
We are.
Right?
We are.
And did you tell us publicly who your guest is going to be, or was that just me?
I don't remember. I mean, it wasn't a big name that many would recognize, but we hope to make him a big name. His name is Kervin Searles. And
that's an interesting name.
It is. I don't even know if I pronounced it correct. I mean, that last name, man, is tough. But he's a neat guy. I've known him for quite a few years. In fact, he had a podcast here in Greenwood for quite a few years called Speaking with Gravity. And they're
not doing it anymore.
Well, he's not doing it. That podcast still continues.
Oh, okay.
And he's got some new hosts, but he's a producer in it still and does appear in it from time to time. But his was the very first podcast I'd ever been on when I was running for office, and then yours was the second, I believe, or maybe it was flipped. Maybe yours was the first. I don't remember. But his was one of the first anyway.
Yeah.
And great show, and he's a really good guy, good husband, father, therapist is his occupation by trade. He's published a book recently. He was also recognized as like a top therapist of the year in South Carolina. I mean, that's a massive award. So we're going to chat with the guy.
Yeah, I did shake his hand at the Greenwood breakfast that I went to back in August of 2024.
My God, how would you remember that?
Shaking his hand because you introduced him from the stage. He was back in the back, and at the end of the show, show,
because I pointed out he had a podcast, and that's how you. Yeah. Okay.
Well, you pointed out who he was, so
right.
But I listened to a few of the episodes. Great voice,
yes,
and the subject matter was great. So that's good that he's still producing. That gives
we've
me
got
some
lined up. In fact, we've got guests lined up through the summer. I mean, we're catching fire, buddy. We've got people calling us wanting to be on now that aren't like weirdos, with a marketing team behind them. We're talking like real people, that we know that are lining up.
I have started to deny entry to the show for some of the ones I've gotten.
What, you don't want to bring on the guy who wrote a book about bird mating cycles? I mean, come on, man.
I don't want to bring on the woman that wants to talk about how she architected the big beautiful bill 20 years before Trump was ever elected president. So, which could ultimately be a very interesting topic and person to speak with, but I think that would just stay as a special episode and not one.
A lady from Georgia who's running for state superintendent of education out there, I think, or some similar job. And she wanted to come on our show, but she's running on the Republican ticket. But she wanted to talk with us. No, I'm not talking with her. First of all, Georgia, we're a South Carolina podcast. Not interested in Georgia politics unless, you're like the governor or, John Ossoff.
Stacey
we'll talk
Abrams.
to you. Warnock, we'll talk to you. But some candidate for state superintendent out there, no, not interested.
That's fair. I get it. I would to send them our way. We'll take care of them.
Listen, we're not interested, but do you know who takes everybody? I know this guy.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this. If the kiss of death is the All About Nothing podcast for candidates, I'll take all the Republicans we can get. I'll say that right now.
Name a candidate you've interviewed who's won.
Russell Ott.
Okay, that's a fair one. That's a good one.
Heather Bauer. Did
you have Heather on your show?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
It was a great episode.
Why
it was
am
the
I
one
not
where I
remembering
accused
it?
her of. It was the one where I accused her of not telling us whether or not she'd been tapped for lieutenant governor.
Yes, now I remember. That's the trigger phrase right there. That was a good one. Yes.
Yeah, she's Heather's fantastic. Now we did get her after she won, so that was not like we had an influence on that.
Hey, we've got her coming back. She's one of the guests that have been tapped.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. I need to text Dr. Jermaine Johnson about when we're going to schedule him. I know Julie Zimmerman is we're negotiating on when we can get her on. Probably the last week of this month, we're going to have her. We really want to try and sit down and do some forum type episodes with multiple candidates, not necessarily running against each other, but candidates that are looking to run in districts that are either right next door to each other, because you can get. I think that in that situation, you have candidates that are running usually on the same issues because the vicinity is so close.
So is
to
Colonel
each other.
Hightower going to run again? I mean, they got that seat that you guys just did is up for election again in November.
Yeah, I had a conversation with him right after Christmas where we kind of did like a postmortem of the campaign, and we talked about some things. And he did tell me at that point he had not made a decision, but he was talking in a way that, because candidates will look back and say, this is what I learned. This is what I learned from this. This is what I learned from that. And I told him flat out, I said, you sound like a guy that's considering running again. And he said, well, I haven't made a decision on that. So my guess is there's a potential, but I also think that there may wind up being some competition in that. Democrats may have a couple candidates running for that seat, which ultimately, I think, while I don't like Democrats having to spend money on a primary, as far as the campaigning for the primary, because that eats away at what you have. I also know that the gentleman that has the seat right now, the Republican that's in the seat, did not raise that much money and does not have a very large war chest ready to campaign for that seat for November.
And he doesn't need to.
No, he does not. He
doesn't need
to.
a single dollar. He can just sit there with the R next to his name, and it will take a Democrat $250,000 to try to overcome that, which is the sad truth. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that having Democrats in a primary and having public forums and town halls where they go out and speak draws attention, and I think that's good for any candidate that runs. So hopefully something's going to happen with it, and we'll see something happen. That's my hope. Last thing I want to talk about was I thought that we were going to see the Senate push across a bill. Truly believe that they were going to push across a bill that would limit Donald Trump's ability to invoke his wrath on Venezuela or other countries.
It was a war powers limitation.
Yeah.
That had Senate majority support.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what happened? Do you remember who flipped?
Josh Hawley. Josh Hawley flipped, and another gentleman.
Who knows?
But either way.
Didn't ring a bell.
Yeah, it didn't matter. But Donald Trump basically, when they voted in committee to push it to the floor, Donald Trump went to Twitter or went to Truth Social and basically blasted them, said that all 5 of the Republicans that were considering voting for this or had voted for it in committee or whatever to push it, that they all needed to be voted out. And Josh Hawley was absolutely one of the biggest Donald Trump supporters. I assume they have a suite at the Marriott together.
And able to show up after that video of him on January 6th.
Because he has not had to run for re-election yet. That's coming. This is his year to run for re-election. So
he's up for election, and that would gosh, because that was like one moment of comedy in that entire January 6th select committee.
Yeah, when I say run, I mean like a gazelle away from a lion. But yeah, essentially Josh Hawley, knowing that Donald Trump could potentially influence his ability to be primaried, flipped. So did the other guy.
No, he's
That's
a
the whole
coward.
reason.
He's a proven
No,
coward.
they all are. The fact that so is it that Donald Trump? It's the same question you asked about Elon Musk. Is it that Donald Trump actually holds that power to determine which Republicans are going to be primaried or which ones are going to retain their seat, or is it I don't. That's the only thing it could be, right? I mean that is it. If you're a senator from a state like Missouri, that is, I get that they go Republican most of the time, but it is you have St. Louis. I mean, this is Kansas City. This is a state.
Missouri, it doesn't matter. I do wonder though. I think a lot of the Trump power of having his support, having his endorsement, if you look at the statistics, it is random. Like it's as good as random. You look at the number of people he's endorsed versus the actual wins, it's 50-50, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers show it really doesn't mean all that much.
Yeah.
And just even look at this last election. Just about everybody he endorsed lost nationwide.
Well, the last question then is, do you think that Elon Musk will step in with PAC money for the candidates that Donald Trump says to endorse?
Yeah. Then I wonder, does that money actually have sway? Just think about the millions he dropped in Wisconsin on the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, because their Supreme Court judges run on partisan lines.
Yep.
And lost. I mean, $100 million, vaporware, nothing, gone, poof, in smoke.
Yep.
And the liberal justice was elected. So I wonder if he's got limited power and influence even with all that money.
Yeah.
You would like to think so.
Well, I'd like to think not. I would like to think that there isn't money involved in
well, I like to think that his power is limited. That's what I meant. I would like to think that with all that money, his power just isn't there with it.
I was thinking 2 steps ahead is I think what I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. It's almost the weekend. Hey, last thing, you think we're going to see any snow this weekend across South Carolina? There's the models are lining up for what could potentially be a pretty epic snowfall between maybe from like Greenwoods over towards
I'm thinking not. I'm seeing
you don't think so?
The highs tomorrow and on Sunday of 40 degrees. Those are the coldest 2 days I saw in our 10-day forecast.
So I'll just tell you that based on some of the meteorological data that I've seen, the high on Sunday is happening at midnight. Just as a
okay, whatever it is. Again, my experience is, you may get flurries. It's not going to stick. That the ground hasn't been cold long enough in order for the snow to hit and retain its shape. And I know. I came from snow country, and so when I see a high of 40 degrees, that might as well be summertime at the beach, as far as snow is concerned. I'm not seeing it. At least not here.
That's fair.
I just don't see it.
Well, just for safety, I've canceled my trip to Atlanta for this weekend. So
what were you going to do in Atlanta?
Postponed it. I was going to go visit my mom. To pick up. She's got a print of my daughters that I'm going to put up in the kitchen, and I was going to hang out down there for a little bit and then come back. But just out of the safety of it, I decided that probably was best that I didn't and just postpone it for another weekend.
Excuse me. Something in my throat.
And that's the clip I wanted.
Yeah. You were talking about being a beta male earlier. Now I can see it. You're too afraid to go out in the snow.
Dude, I'll protect my own, but I'm not going to look for that fight. I will say this. I know that there are protests planned between now and the next time we get together.
There's one here in Greenwood on Saturday.
I just want to say I have concerns about safety for people. I know here in Columbia that in Richland County, the likelihood is low that there will be any sort of ICE involvement, but anything planned in Lexington County, I can't promise you there isn't, because Lexington County's got a contract with ICE, and they do a lot of work with ICE, and you see ICE around. You see their vehicles around. But I would just hope
if you
that
were in Minnesota right now, if you were in Minneapolis, would you be out on the lines with Robbie the giraffe and others, or would you be at home playing it safe? And it's tough to say because you're not there, so you can only imagine.
Yeah. And I'd like to say that I would be, but at the same time, I also recognize I have to have a job. I have to be able to go to work, and I have kids.
And so do all those people who are out there in the streets.
You're not wrong.
And fighting for those who are being torn from their kids and torn from their jobs and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It gets me emotional, and there's just so many jerks I'm dealing with who think everything is fine. They just need to comply, and we can go on another hour about this.
Yeah, it's conflicting. I'll just say if there is law enforcement or there is ICE or there is both, just keep it safe. Don't provoke them. Don't encourage them to react to you, because ultimately, if there is violence, it does not provide, or it does not support the message. So, Donald Trump wants everyone to think that these protests are just violent insurrections against him and his administration, and they aren't violent. I have not seen violence in any of the protests that I've been to. So my hope is that they stay that way.
No, I mean, and how about that douchebag Alan Wilson, the Attorney General? Last No Kings, he sent out an alert saying we're watching and we're expecting violence, and everybody will, the law will prosecute every. Fuck that,
Well, hell, when the SNAP benefits were ending, and state of South Carolina invoked their special trust fund where people can make donations to, so that it will provide money for food banks and things like that. The state of South Carolina is not putting a dime into it. It's up to individual donations to do it. But he had Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott dress up in a state militia outfit to show that the state militia and the state National Guard would be at every food bank, giving the impression that this is some sort of Imperial Star Trooper sort of situation where, the truth is that yes, some of them were there, but they were there, potentially taking food from people's cars or putting food into people's cars. They were there to be helpful in an administrative way. But you have a nationally recognized sheriff dress up in a South Carolina state militia outfit. I'm not even going to say a uniform, because they all wear different ones. But it was just, it was one color, khaki sort of looking uniform with a couple Velcro badges on the side. It's like, why would you use Leon Lott for that? And why would Leon Lott agree to that? Like, that's the part that it's the optics of everything has optics to it. And the message you're trying to send is, we are going to enforce.
So who you met at, McMaster or Leon Lott?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them. I'm disappointed in Leon Lott. McMaster is a constant disappointment. Why is he still alive? To be honest with you, like, he's 117 years old. Fucking A. All right. Before I get targeted by SLED.
Well, at least Dilbert's gone.
Yeah, Dilbert's gone. And you know what the worst part is? Like, I read Dilbert comics as a teenager
religiously,
but going back and looking, like, I had the little flip book Dilbert comics, like I had Garfield ones, and I went back and looked at some of them, and I was like, this isn't as funny as I thought it was. And not even out of respect for, like, how racist the Scott, what's his name?
Adams.
Scott Adams was, but just because I'd look at it and be like, no, this is too surreal. This is like real office life. I don't, this isn't funny. This makes me upset.
I found it funny even when I was in office life, but it made me paranoid, especially as I started to move up in management. And I'm like, ooh, crap. I just did the pointy-haired boss thing. I started to make me paranoid. I was like, oh, crap. I said that phrase at work the other day in a meeting. And it was a good reflection. It was a good mirror for its time. But
I
then
said some of those
something
things as
happened.
an employee, not manager. So
Yeah. He had pancreatic cancer, I believe, and it had spread throughout his body.
yeah, and he went pretty quick. He went pretty quick. So, like I said, I enjoyed his comics when I was younger, but not for any political reason or racist reason or anything like that. I went back and looked at them, and I just didn't think they were quite as entertaining as I thought they were before. I used to have a framed Dilbert comic
Oh, yeah.
at my desk, like in a legitimate frame that I don't know where it's at now. It's in a box somewhere, but I don't even remember what that comic was about. But it was a very specific one to a situation. That was a thing, though. Scott Adams in his comics, and I don't know where he got his ideas for them from.
I can tell you where. I know the answer to that. He started putting his email in his comic strip, and people would email him millions of ideas and stories from office life. So he drew upon that for his inspiration. Did you ever see or know about the animated Dilbert cartoon series?
I did watch the cartoon series. The voice wasn't Drew Carey, was it? Daryl Stern. Oh, okay.
I think that was the guy's name from. Wasn't he from Home Alone?
Was he
the guy that was the sidekick to Joe Pesci?
Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern. That's what I meant. Yes,
yeah.
Daniel Stern. I think
he was
that's who was the voice of Dilbert. I'm 80% sure. There's a 20% chance of error here. But
I can still picture the show in my head. I don't, but
it wasn't memorable. I watched
No.
it and I remember just looking at it straight face, going, "This isn't as good as the comic strip."
This doesn't need to be colored.
Nah, doesn't need to be animated. I don't need to hear their voices. It just doesn't work.
And I think the one thing I remember the most is the fact that the tie would come down and flip up.
There was that one comic strip that after Dilbert went on a date and the tie was straight.
What?
That created quite the uproar.
Well, we know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just the woman in his office with the hair that stood
Alice,
out.
I think her name was. My gosh,
Alice,
these names are coming back to me.
Well, Dogbert. I remember Dogbert and Ratbert,
and
right? Wasn't Catbert? Yeah. Well, that was a fun trip down racist memory road.
It was fine. He was fine up until that point.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
I read one of Scott Adams' books thinking it was going to be a witty take on society, and instead one of his chapters went off this deep end where he believed in the wish. Do you remember that phenomenon, that new age mentality where all you had to do was think of something into existence hard enough and it was going to happen?
Yeah.
Like it was something that Oprah had pushed. And he fully bought into that and even wrote a couple of chapters in this book about it. And I'm reading this going, what the F? But yeah, he says, I just wrote down that I would be a successful cartoonist every day. And then next thing you know, I was starting to get my wish, and
manifesting.
Yeah.
They manifested into their lives.
Yeah.
And I have had plenty of people in my life that believe that they manifest things, that they think about it enough. And I'm like, and just hear me out. If you want to build a shed in your backyard, you don't manifest it. You just build it. You go buy the lumber, you go buy the screws, you figure out, you know how to frame it up. You just build it. You didn't manifest the thing. It's there because you put forth the effort to make it happen yourself.
Believe me, if I could manifest something, my tie would be straight too. That's all I'm saying.
Well, all right, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you, Bill. Big thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, you can follow Bill at PoliticalBillSC. You can follow myself at Barrett Gruber. Thanks for listening and liking and hitting that bell. And if you can, give us a 5-star review and leave a comment. Until next time, you all stay safe, be kind, and keep your hands to yourself. The preceding podcast is solely owned by the host or hosts and is distributed by Big Media, LLC. Copyright 2026.